can see our.
Yeah, the other one is too. It's just how we got it. Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
internet world. You can't see.
Yeah, I'll have to adjust it.
Welcome to the ukulele. We're going to talk about restringing, maintenance, what you can do on your own ukuleles. All right. Size doesn't matter. All these principles and concepts will apply just as well to any ukulele.
And even some guitar stuff, and mandolins and.
Yep. Difference is steel strings versus non. Basically, they're either steel strings or some sort of nylon, fluorocarbon, synthetic materials. Originally, strings were a catgut made from like sheep intestines. On classical guitars, they were really susceptible to humidity and going out of tune. So when DuPont created nylon back in the 50s, Andres Segovia, world famous classical guitarist, approached D'Acquisto, a string manufacturer in New York, to use this new material, nylon, to make classical guitar strings. And the world has changed since then. All right, so you don't really need much to work on your own ukulele. Number one, ukulele. Need an ukulele. Sometimes you need some support, a nice flat little table surface or something. We're home here. We're just using some TV trays. Put a towel down or something as a covering so wood doesn't hit wood. A string winder really helps. I got this fancy one from StewMac.
This will be a
wood one.
A headless string.
Yeah, headless ukulele string. Little wire cutters to cut the strings. That's it. Sometimes nail clippers work too. Toenail clippers.
You want to loosen the slack though before.
Yeah, I took one off already.
The tension will make it go.
Unwound some, so this one's pretty loose. These are still off the pitch. So basically, just take your ukulele and put it on the winder and keep track of. Make sure you're going loose. I will play the string. Like here, I'll wind this one up. Here I'm going up in pitch, so I want to go down. So just wind some. You can even, if you do this a lot, you can get the drills that have a little thing on you stick on the end to make it do this really fast. I'll use that at the store sometimes, but the string winder works just as well. You can loosen them, take them off. All right, I'm going to do a different ukulele, but I'll show you this here. Because this one has geared tuners up top here. And you take advantage because at this point when the strings are off, I will just take them all off. Got an hour, right? Won't take that long. The longest process of doing strings is tuning it up, especially ukulele strings, because they'll stretch out. So I'm just winding away like a drill.
They do have drill attachments too. Did you talk about that?
Yep. Sometimes with the store, they got all this other extra junk on here. Take that off, or just once they're loose though, enough where they're sort of really out of pitch, you can just sort of clip them, because we're not going to use these again. Take them off up top. Now these had a lot of winds around the top up here. I'm going to show you a shortcut, a little trick I learned online from Buster Jones of stringing up classical guitars. And this is what these strings pretty much are, classical guitar strings.
And I'm starting it on.
Yep.
And that's another, when you get a new uke, if you restring it and you have issues with the buzz or too much around the tuner wound, might be help that issue.
A lot of new ukuleles, the mass imported ones, they don't put the greatest strings on because they just get them in bulk. These are Aquilas. They're not the great Aquilas. They're not guts. But down here now, you'll notice if I can show, you'll see, I can barely see it.
Bridge.
Yeah, and they did all this fancy stuff down here of putting strings in strings. That's all just for show. Has no functional purpose at all. It's crazy. So we can see them both, right?
Yep.
All right, now just remove them down here. Watch when you flip things over that this little saddle doesn't fall off. Some of these are compensated. This one's not. So I will sometimes put a little Sharpie mark on the underside, right-hand side, so that I know this goes down to string 1 when I'm done. Strings sometimes, when they're being played a lot, they'll develop little grooves in these saddles, which are helpful, I guess. So just take these out. This is a chance to look at the bridge and make sure it's not rising up. If you're working on other pieces of it, as you have the strings off, you can just get these blue painter's tape and tape the saddle on top of the bridge so when you flip it over, it doesn't fall off. This is a chance to, when the strings are off, condition the neck. You can use a lemon oil. Kelly likes this Dunlap lemon oil. Any lemon oil works. There's a lot. Everybody makes it. We have this Nomad F1 oil. Sounds fancy, like a formula.
Yeah, I like this one because it has a
dabber.
Yeah,
a little dabber doer.
A little like a bingo marker.
Yep.
So you just rub it on and we'll do that on the next uke.
You just need a lint-free cloth. Then I tell my young students just go to like the your mom's cat linen closet and get the best towel, cut up in little pieces.
No. Are we doing lemon oil on this one and stuff or not?
Yeah, might as well. Look.
All right.
Now, but when you have the strings off, take advantage of checking to see if these nuts are tight, because the string vibration will loosen them up. This one's really loose already, and it's just never been played before, pretty much. So you just want to tighten them. The T-bar works really well. What's nice about these is it goes right on top and doesn't slip and stuff like a wrench. You don't want to ding up anything.
Music Nomad, does their octopus one have that adapt the wrench one, or is it just
a lot of the Nomads?
Stuff?
You can get guitar kits and stuff like that that have all this good stuff in it. I get a lot of my tools from Stuart McDonald. They have a wealth of information, free online videos and tech sheets you can download. But I got their Super Max shipper, so free shipping. So
it's like Amazon Prime.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, for guitar for tech geeks. Now, most next, you can check the neck, but concert, most ukuleles, there's hardly any major manufacturers that put a truss rod in the neck. Pono from Lao, they're the only ones I know of that will put a truss rod in.
Yeah,
they're handmade. But they should start. I hope they would do them on tenors at least. Because if the neck goes on these and twist or gets a back bow, is the only solution is to pull the frets out, sand it down flat, and then put the frets back in. So you're talking a major job. And if the ukulele is only a couple $100, that's more than half the price of the ukulele, I'm sure. All right. So this is a tie bridge. Right, so the only thing you do, I just sort of.
Are you putting them back on, right?
That's right.
No, new pack. Okay.
So yeah, cut them. You can't put them on to do.
I didn't know you cut. Wasn't really watching.
Yeah.
So we have our.
So just do a couple.
Martin.
Yep.
Martin brand. And these are the fluorocarbon.
Yeah, I was actually involved, and they called me up because we live close by, and the luthier that built my custom arch top guitar is friends with Chris Martin and everybody at the Martin factory. They're a really good family. They called me up to test out strings. It's like a Pepsi Coke RC challenge, you know. They strung things up. I told them what strings I use. They're really pretty thorough, scientific. They have synthetic sweat to test out their guitar strings.
Oh,
Good thing it's synthetic. So you just unravel your pack of strings. This is string 4. Now,
this will be really hard to see. It looks invisible.
But here's the one little tip. We should have a fancy knot kind of thing. But basically, you're going to go through the hole down here, coming out. Just make sure you don't put too much through, that you don't leave enough to play with up at the headstock. Now, this is where even manufacturers seem to make the mistake. Is now on these ones that are not wound, you need to go over and under twice down here. This will be hard to see. This is a fluorocarbon plane. Get my big hands there. All right, and I just hold it and then take my nail and push it down here and just take this string and really pull it here. That'll lock it down. It'll stay on there. It'll stay in there and stay locked down. Now here's the secret trick. Up here, you don't need any slack when you're running the string through here. By the time it's wound, tuned up to pitch, you're going to have 2, 3, or 4 winds up there.
And you're going from the inside
Yep, so you just
out.
go around like this. Now on these, you can actually also come back through when there's room.
Wait, go over that a little.
Yeah.
Ken.
So I'm going back through, and then I'm going to go down in like a rabbit hole. And I'll tighten that up. And now there's no slack. So then I'm going to start winding it, and I'm going to direct this string to make sure it goes over the ends of the string sticking out. And I'm going to hold my finger down, and I'm going to keep tension back here with this finger so I can guide it. And I just wind it. It'll hit the point with 1 or 2 winds around already. It's going to hit my fingers and start to pinch them. And usually when they get pinched, you can go like another 2 or 3 winds around. Now,
So
see, this fell out already, so then you have to go back and put that in.
So you let the loose end go under the string, between the string and the headstock.
Yeah, because you want the winds when they go around just to come over this and sort of lock it down in. Now, you notice I did no slack, and this is not up to pitch yet, but it would be getting close. It's hard to see. We should have had like a red string or something. But there's a string on there. Once you get it up there and start to go around, you can cut it off. And this has maybe, it's hard to see. This has like 2 or 3 winds around already. And it's not up to pitch. Here's a tuner. Yeah, just check it. Anybody guessing on this perfect pitch? I have no idea. I know on these, there's a dead battery. It's a D, so I gotta go up to a G. So I'm really cranking this around. Sometimes if you want to go, you can put the winder on and just do like a 3 or 4 winds. Now I went up to F from those 3 or 4 winds, F sharp. When you're doing that first tuning, just go past. You don't care. You don't try to get the pitch. Then you can take your fingers and run them up and down the string. You're actually feeling too at this point. It helps. If there's any nicks or dings, if there is, you discard the string and start over. So I went down to F sharp.
And that's a good way
back
to.
up to G.
Did you
I'll
talk about that
stretch some more too.
If you don't know if your strings need to be changed or not, did you talk about that?
So
The
yeah,
same
we'll go over
thing?
that in a second. When do you have to change them? So I'm just stretching it. I'm saving myself a couple days of retuning. But you'll tune it up. All the strings. I usually do strings 4. Get rid of this. So I'll go from 4, 3, and then I go to 1 and 2. So I'm working my way outside to the inside. And have the strings go to the inside. It should go up pretty straight from here to here. All right?
Yeah, we'll get some people come in for repairs and they go on the
Yeah, long
outside
way, yeah,
in
messes
and
you
wrap
up.
in it.
Then back here, down here, see this is locked in. It'll stretch over a couple of days. Then I just sort of clip this off. You don't need any of that fancy, tuck this one under that one. It looks really cool, but it serves no functional purpose at all. This is the equivalent of the wash tub bass. G blues.
What's next? What are you doing?
Play the dots. Anybody need a 1-string ukulele?
20% off. Just kidding.
That's it. Can barely see these, right? Jeez. Oh, where's that other camera?
Which one are
There's
we
2
doing?
cameras there. All right. String the rest up later. Yeah, we're going to do, so this is a solid headstock, right? Now we have Kelly's ukulele. Nice
Lanikai.
Lanikai. Got the Lanikai bits. Now, if you're taking your ukulele to a shop, somebody to change the strings for you, shame on you. You should do it yourself. Nah, they can do it for you. Take the strap off before you take it to them. And I take the straps off. They're a lot easier to work on without the strap dangling around or potential to catch on things. All right. These have the Aquillas on it. These look like the, it's hard to tell in our lighting, but they do look like the higher up guts. Look at that purple or purple. Isn't that nice? This is Kelly's. That's the one big drawback on your own music store, especially a ukulele store. You just want to keep so many of them. It's like, luckily we have Bern, my wife, and Kelly's mom that sort of keeps us straight and narrow so that we don't want to keep every ukulele. Otherwise, we would go out of business. We do get a lot of stuff, but don't tell her. Oh, wait, she's probably watching. So here's purple again. This is a slotted headstock. More expensive to make. Theoretically, it keeps a steeper break angle from here to here. I don't know if that increases the tension or not. It might, but it's supposed to keep a more downforce, right? Again, this has a tie bridge, and they did that goofy thing there again of running all the strings through there. It's more work to do that. You don't really need to do that.
I do like my strings pointing down.
Now, they did something else fancy here, too. They sort of ran it through from here. They went around again, or they did some weird things. Yeah, they tied them in by doing all that goofy thing. So we're not going to do it this way. We want to do it more the traditional classical guitar technique. Slotted headstock. Nothing really gets loose on these. These little screws in here, they're pretty good. So again, here you just want to detune it. Now you don't have to worry about these. In the guitar world, they'll say change the strings one at a time. Now, if you're changing all the strings right away and you get good at it, it's only going to take you about 15, 20 minutes of taking off the strings, conditioning the neck, dusting, checking things, restring it and tune it. You'll get it down to where you can do it in like 20 minutes. And that's not enough to affect tension on the neck. Now, ukulele only has about 40 pounds of tension. So there you go. Slack key.
Oh boy, we're gonna lose viewers.
Yeah, right. Some Middle Eastern music there. All right. I look for clippers. You can clip it at this point. Just clip away. I clip over the sound hole and hold both ends so they don't go swinging and flying. These are not metal, so you can't put an eye out. Now, we actually at the store, when people bring in classical guitars, we'll charge more to change the strings versus a standard.
Can we take that out? You take those
flat
out?
headstock. So just, yeah, you can do that. Because this part over here is where all the hard work is, getting these off. And this one here, they got like tons of string here. So
that's weird. So they had one knotted and none of the others.
Yeah. So some of these, when they're loose, I'm just going to clip away a lot of string and just sort of clean up later.
Yes, if you ever go into Kurt's repair room, there's string clippings on the floor.
If you do steel strings, save a box because some people use them for jewelry. The old strings.
Allie Rose.
No, probably didn't hear
Oh
that.
my God.
You don't have to worry about that. We're shooting at home, so
Allie just walked by and tooted.
Yeah. A baby did it.
She said it wasn't me, it was a baby. Oh my goodness.
Jesus, working at home. All you need is that flat surface. Yeah.
This is why you tune into Funky Freds. You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah. So this is why I crossboarded. Get this headstock cleaned up. So entertain them while I'm clipping some strings.
Nobody's asking any questions in the chat.
Anybody there? Crickets?
Hello. Betsy's saying ukes, just follow her home.
Yeah. I haven't met anybody except for some of our customers new to the store that have been a ukulele player for a couple of years that has only one ukulele. It would be a weird phenomenon, not seen often in the wild. See, there's always that last string, the C string, because it locks itself down there pretty good. Darn. I have better tools at the store. Can't get this.
What's wrong? Where we get it?
There we go, got it.
Need tweezers.
Yeah.
I have tweezers.
One more. Oh. Right from the back. That's the C string. They don't need as much winding as the others when you tune it up. Darn, it's stuck.
Oh, April is Betsy's 5-year ukulele anniversary.
Yep.
Nice.
She can blame us for her first ukulele, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Got it. Maybe. Whew, man. It's like noodles when you sort of cut them like this. And there you go. Whew, man. Now, a little tip is this. This has 2 holes in each one, so it's quite weird. But just line these up. I'll show you when I get to it. Now, this we're going to condition the neck. Kelly will do that, I guess.
Yes, I love doing
Check
that.
the frets. Check the battery. This one has the battery pack in the back, so it's not so bad for active electronics. Make sure this doesn't.
One tech issue we get a lot is my electronics aren't working, my amp's not doing anything, and then we say,
check. Make sure your tuner's not on.
Mute button on. Yeah.
Right.
And then that fixes it. So
now, if your strings, another string thing, if it sounds like your ukulele is not staying in tune and it is tuned, and some things just sounds out of tune, or you hear about intonation where you play a harmonic at the 12th fret and then you fret the 12th fret and it's not in tune, there's a really high chance that it's the strings. You start with the strings, especially if it's played in tune before. So change the strings. And you just feel around underneath them. If there's any nicks and dings, they will wear out over a while, but not as often as guitar strings.
So we're going to get our fretboard cleaner and prep.
Your
polishing
your
cloth.
funky frets polishing cloth.
Or we have really
Now
fancy
this is a glossy top.
Nomad
So you
polishing
can
cloth.
at that point take like any guitar cleaner kind of stuff. They've actually do a ukulele cleaner now. Basically, that means they bottle it in smaller bottles for ukulele. And you can clean and wipe the top. Do them nooks and crannies.
Yes, all available at.
Yep, everything's
Wait, let's get
available
one
at
in front.
Funky Frets. What's that?
Open. We have polishing cloth that's not open. That's already used.
Yeah, there you go.
And just get in there.
Because wood will dry out, and especially in the wintertime. Now that humidity is sneaking back in the spring, right? So just you put it on, let it sit for a little bit,
And you can
wipe it off.
like cover this if you want, so you don't get spray all over that if you
It
want.
won't
But,
really affect the glossy top.
yeah. But the satin.
It won't even
can be
affect
pain to
the
polish.
satin top.
But it's just more buffing out. You gotta clean
Yes.
out.
Satin top, you can use lemon oil on it. I've done that on my Colau. Again, now this doesn't have where you have to adjust up here.
And this is a new uke, so we don't need to polish the body, but you just spray all
Yeah.
around and wipe it down.
The dusting, there you go, it's dusted.
Yeah. This will get dusty and grimy, and you can dab a little lemon oil on there.
Yeah, we are a dealer for this company called Nomad. And they
Music
actually have
Nomad,
these
yeah.
little tools that are like these brushes
little,
and
like,
felts that
yeah.
can get in under the strings to get the dust and everything that settles in those right
Yeah,
angles.
it's like
That's
a
hard to
polishing cloth on a
Stick,
stick, and
yeah,
it goes
nice.
in. It's neat, yeah. So just squeeze on our.
Lemon oil, lemon. This is what you want to leave on a little bit, the lemon oil.
Yeah, I always
So,
probably
They
use
say a
more
couple
than
minutes, but-
necessary.
yeah, just let it sit
then
a
I
little
just-
bit. Ooh.
Rub it in and get it in there.
Look at that. Shiny.
What's that in Moana, that shiny song?
No, you wipe it down.
I don't
We'll
know.
wipe it.
Oh, I would let it sit a little longer, but for TV purposes,
Yeah.
we'll wipe it off.
Now, when you're doing this, you can also tell if you have some high frets on the side or sharp frets. It'll take a lot of your cloth with it.
It's bad.
Nice. You can't smell a vision. You can't smell it.
I love
Lemon oil. That's nice. This is a brand new uke. But you can also, we have these little eraser file things that you can buff the frets. Even this
it's
stuff
really
here, if you wanted
grimy
to,
and
this scotchy stuff, this will polish up the frets. It's a little scotch.
we did that backwards. Or...
That's right. Yeah.
We did step 1 first.
Yeah, some steps doesn't matter, but others don't. So there you go. Ready for
We
some
should have
air
done-
ukulele.
Have you seen on Facebook everyone's doing that thing where somebody will go behind and be the hands and they'll do makeup?
Yeah.
We should have done ukulele string change without. That would have been funny.
So what strings you're using? Oh, what, you didn't bring in
How
the
to
strings?
clean with the strings on.
Don't bother cleaning
well,
those strings.
Well, you could loosen your strings up and
here's what you do. You
we'll
take,
show you when
you take a
it's.
cloth and you run it through the strings and then just come up under like this. Up then.
But you have to loosen all your strings a little bit.
Yeah, you can't condition the fingerboard with the strings on.
Well, you
that.
can't.
Yeah.
You just loosen them and pull them, and I do it. But
When you do loosen and pull them, that's what sort of sometimes gets nicks and things in the string. You have to be careful. Yeah, just wait till you change them.
I'm going to try out a pack that Sarah Maisel and Craig Chi gave me a while back. I haven't gotten to use yet. That's their
We'll see what they are.
their DHS artist
Smooth nylon.
curated strings.
Save these strings for the other one.
They're having their next Not So Mini festival on May 2nd.
I gotta be careful with these. Yeah, nylon. Second. Now, there's a little pet peeve. These are not that. There's a string, I won't mention the names out there, but they come and they number the strings. They number the string 4 close to your nose as string 1, and it sort of does it backwards. It's like totally messes you up. So a real key is to look at the 3rd string, and if it's your thickest one, it is going 4 to 1. This one company, won't mention the name again.
Or maybe you should mention it so then they can know.
I don't want to mention them. They were actually pretty good strings and stuff, but they messed you up. They won't change it. Originally, some other companies did it too, backwards. Some of the first ukes, when they started to get really big, this latest craze, we call it, the manufacturer, he got the ukes in, and they had the fret markers at 3, 5, 7, 10, like a guitar. 3, 5, 7, 9. 3, 5. So this is 5, 7, 10, 12, right?
No.
Is that right? 3, 5, 7, 10, 12. Right?
Oh, I thought you were talking
The
about
fret
the
markers.
side dots.
These
Okay, you're talking about the side dots.
and the markers, yeah.
'Cause
They
those
had it
don't
like
match
a
up.
guitar. 3, 5, 7, 9, 12.
Oh, all. So they
Yeah,
hold fret
traditionally,
dotted up.
the ukulele has always been those markers. So I usually just start with 1 string. String 4.
Here.
Yeah. Now these again. Where's the stick? There you go. So you got more than enough string on some of these. In fact, Worth strings, when you get them, they give you enough for 2 sets. Basically, strings are nylon, fluorocarbon. And the only difference between maybe a soprano, concert, and tenor is the packaging and how long they cut them. So
While you're on that one, the Worth Brown strings, if you do it right, you can get two tenor scale lengths out of it.
yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, they are more
No,
expensive. They're
do this.
$24.99 versus most packs are like $7, $8, $9.
Oops.
What are you doing?
Now this bridge here has 2 holes in it for some wackiness that you have to be careful that you do the right one. Otherwise, your string spacing could be way off. some different special tying technique.
Oh, okay. So do you need to use both of those holes or not?
Nope, I'm just going to string these. I'm going to take these now just to make sure I get them the right string spacing when they have these double holes, and put them all in at first.
But with a regular bridge, you wouldn't
Yeah,
do
they
that.
only have one hole in there. And none of these came with, there's information online about how they do this. But that's to make sure I have all the strings right. Pretty rare you get an empty pack with a string company, but it does happen. Yeah, see, that's weird. Have to find out where. This is the boring part of the show. Yeah, oh, here you go. I got a ukulele capo here.
Oh, to hold that.
Yeah, just to see. Just curious. It's hard to do.
Maybe we should have started off with the regular. Oh, we did do the regular.
Yeah, this one sees the middle here. Figure out the tools and measure. It's weird. Weird. You like to complicate things. Break out another one.
Let's not endorse.
Well, we can see where they, how they are.
What?
Another one of the Laniakaias.
Oh, there you go.
See what they did. Yeah, because that's weird. Detective work. Learn as you go. You can always just Google it. Weird.
It's not the most common bridge type.
Okay, got it.
Here's the black one.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty.
Because they're just going through twice. They're coming through like this and then going through this one here. So I'll probably take advantage of that a little bit.
And a lot of times, if you're doing your personal ukes, you might not remember at all how to even do the standard bridge tying. So you just look up a video again and make sure you're doing the knot in the right direction.
So in this twice one through like this, I'm going to come through. It's really weird, hard to show. Let's take
Here,
these out
you hold
again.
these. No. Good. Now you're gonna know which string's what.
Yeah, see, it's hard to see, but they have like you can see there's two holes. It's really hard to see. One, two, each string. So what they're doing is going through the one closest to the floor, coming back over top of the bridge, and then going back through the second hole closest to your nose. So then you can come through and you want to do this. Oh, wind it. I ain't gonna do that. I got that. That's silly. So just the plain strings are not wound. Go through twice. That's enough to lock it down. On the outside one, I will go so that the pointy part is going to stick in towards the inside.
So it's not poking you in
There
the
you are,
arm.
poking. Just push it down with your nail. We're gonna go through again. It's like being a surgeon without any of the training.
Or pay.
Right, yeah, there you go. So again, now here's something you can take advantage of. Cartoon sounds. Be your own Foley artist. Right, there you go. Now, tricky part up here is, and this is the reason to take the head stock, the tuner up here and get the arrows not the arrows, get the holes pointing straight up and down, slightly towards the top so that I can take this string here now go down into the peg, the hole, right? Pull it sort of tight, not really tight, just under tension.
Taut.
Right, taut. And then you're going to come back through.
It's really long.
Yes, it is really long. Big fingers come back through.
Back through, not through
Yep,
the hole,
not
through
through
the
the hole.
headstock.
Right, and then under the string that's coming up from the instrument, like you're creating this little loop U. Right, so that was, you won't be able to see it at all, I don't think. It'd be really hard to see. Yeah, I have to do a little drawing. Right, and then I'm gonna start winding, and I'm gonna have the string that's being wound around the post go over that string that I looped underneath of it.
Which is really hard to follow.
Yep. And just make sure your string winds go out this way towards the headstock. It won't take many.
We used to do this workshop when we first opened
Do we?
at the store. But yeah, you did guitar maintenance, and
Oh, yeah.
but not too many people took advantage of it.
Right. I'll just take advantage of my artist abilities. Maybe. Let me see. Okay, there you go. Hard to see right. Sorry, let me just make this the
That's the tuner.
Yep. So for them people there, that's how the string is going underneath. So when I wind it, the string will be locked down by the string part that's under tension. Is that up there?
Yep.
All right. Artist rendering. And it wasn't like Gene London. I didn't have it in blue ink where you can see it and just drew over it.
Don't get that
No,
reference.
he had his stuff written ahead of time, and it was like green screen. You couldn't see it.
Oh.
Now it'll be like 1-2 winds around it. Then when you get your string into the position where you can sort of see where it's going, sometimes you have to really be just precise and guide it. Hence all this string. They do give you a lot of extra string.
You're pulling it.
Yeah, we're just making sure it goes and stays under and heading towards the headstock.
Heading towards the
Heading
tuner.
towards the tuner part. Another tuner, better one. Grab that other one, it's brighter. Right, now when you get this piece, this is why it costs more to tune these for customers. So when you do get this sticking straight out here,
Clip it.
yeah, at this point you can't clip it. It's not going to pull out. Knock on wood.
So this is our first like virtual string
Yeah.
change. Is it really hard to follow at
It's
home?
like reality TV. Ooh, that's a
Let us
thick
know.
headstock. Now, it's so funny. The headstock, they say they do the slotted headstock for another reason, to decrease the weight of where the tuners go in the headstock, but they got to make the headstock usually
Thicker.
twice as thick as a flat one. I don't see how that works. So this is D now. So gotta pop it up to G. And there was like almost 3 winds around up there. Can't really see it, I'm sure. And I didn't leave any tension when I did it. This is why you see new ukuleles have like 6-7 winds around them from the factory.
Oh, good. Your drawing did help them
It did help?
visualize. Yes.
That's good. 2 years of art school, I guess.
We need to get set up so we can have multiple camera angles right on
Yeah,
the uke, and then
Yep. So buy our instruments.
so we can afford more.
Yep. Sign up for my. I have a deal going on learningukulele.com. There's getting close to 700 lessons, 100 videos, all my books, tons of information, even on strings, materials, different stuff like that. And I have a. I'm not a big fan of subscriptions because you lose track of them. But I have a forever membership. You can just pay once and you get forever access. Never have to pay again.
All right. So we're
And you
gonna
get a free lesson out of it. Free
hour.
free hours private session with me, virtual, unless you live in the area. And so it's sort of worth it.
Sort of
Definitely
worth
worth
it.
it. Yeah. But there's a lot of stuff. You can get all my books too as a PDF download. Counted them the other day. Kelly asked me how many books, and I don't know, it was like 37 ukulele books or something. It's
Yes.
crazy, right?
Bonnie, this is a headless video.
Yeah, headless video.
Because we just
head is not on the camera. Oh my God, we forgot to bring our heads.
it would
There you
works out
go. Look at
visually.
that. We're
Nobody
focused
wants-
on the ukulele.
Yes. Oh God. There's
We didn't change the other ones, right?
Yeah, we'll do them later.
Now,
All
different types of bridges you'll run across. Silly bridges.
Tiki heads or
Yeah, dolphins.
Or sharks.
They're basically just still the same, tied on. This you can see sometimes 3 ties around it. It locks it in pretty good. This one's not so bad. There's not a lot of winds on the headstock. All right. Then you have.
We have to remember to
Where's
finish
the,
my uke, or next time I go to use it, I'm not
Where's
gonna
the
have
outdoor uke?
the outdoor uke.
Yeah, here we go. Right. Live from the living room.
Dining room.
Dining room.
We're in the dining room.
Outdoor uke has a slot hole here where you have to tie a knot in it, just like this one here. You'll see some of the old school ones will have a slot, and you have to tie a little knot in there. Now, here's the best knot to tie. I learned this one from
This one here. You got
music guy Mike. Yeah, it's called the Ashley stopper. What it does is creates this little ball on the end, which is a very nice little
You
knot.
can make that bigger if you.
Yeah, I'm just getting clear. See that knot? Yeah, you can go online and I have an app on my iPhone that sort of gives you an animation of how to tie this Ashley stopper. As much as I do these, I still have to look it up every time. But it creates a nice little ball, like a bead almost, that will lock in there pretty good.
It'll be
Right.
thick enough.
Yeah, it won't come out, it won't pull through. Because sometimes if you do a figure 8 on the real thin strings, you'll tie it, pull it, and it'll just pull right through. So this knot works really well. Ashley stopper.
Someone asked.
They're good for pin bridges too.
I have a
So that's
question. I had a tuner that's slipping. Do I fix that by tightening the little screw on the end of the
Yes,
tuner?
right here. If it's a geared tuner that's not sealed, and these are good tuners. I'll show you the one on my coat now. This could get loose. Just tighten this around this little gear. Make sure these little screws are tight to hold it on.
And then these.
If they get loose, you can take the screw out and sort of just shove a toothpick in there, break it off in there, and then put the screw back in now to keep it pretty tight. If these plastic things get loose, these are sort of molded on. You're sort of like, you'd have to epoxy them back on or something. Right. That's one of the upgrades you can do on a lot of ukuleles is, even though my Colau came with some really nice
And then these
tuners.
two you can tighten up just while you're maintaining them, right?
Like these here are Waverleys. They're nice. Sometimes they cost more than some of these other ukuleles, but they're great. They're American made. They really won't get loose. But you check the screws because things do get loose from vibrations. Electric guitars especially, you have to tighten these up all the time. Ukulele's not so bad.
So wait, you showed this bridge, right? It goes down and pull through?
Yeah, just tie that Ashley stopper. All right. Now another kind of bridge. One that goes over a river. Oh wait, that's a different show.
Oops, I spelled that one.
Now, this bridge has a pin bridge like acoustic guitars. Now these pins are not slotted. You don't need a slotted one. But same thing there. The Ashley stopper knot works really well, so that doesn't pull through.
So you pull the pin out
Yep.
and then it.
It's just like the ball end on a guitar string. Now, some people will tie beads on the end of them to do this. These, they just come out. You can even take them out like this.
Well, you don't have
When they're
your-
loose, you don't need a fancy, some of these,
Oh, the puller.
yeah, some of these plastic tuners that you get at the guitar stores and stuff, we have them, have a little slot on the end that they will help pull this out. There's even tools that they get stuck, you can pull it, but if you just take your wire cutters and put it underneath, but don't really squeeze hard at all, just underneath, That'll give you leverage. It just doesn't take much to pull it up. In fact, this one's coming up, and there's a string in there, but I'll show you. It won't come out. Just a little peg.
Yeah.
Look there.
Oh,
See the string? Boom. Time to change it.
Oh, now you can show them how to do that.
So there. So it's so hard to see. You won't be able to see it. It's a little tiny, tiny knot.
Ashley's style.
Yeah. So that popped out, but that's all right. I put it back in. And then just what you do here is you push the string down, push this in. Oh, this is like tight. There you go. And then pull the string up. So this one I have to redo. Now down here, this just popped out because of that. I'm just pulling it up here by hand. So there you go. That's cool. So this has a lot of I do that same technique with these, and over time it gets a lot of tension. I hate changing strings because when I pick up an instrument, I want to play it. I do not want to. But like somebody give you a car, but you an hour of maintenance and you get to drive it for a couple minutes. No way. So there you go. Look, I'm back. So I check my strings. I don't change these. This one needs changing. I can feel little nicks and dings up here. So this needs changing. I'm running my fingers here in these first fret areas. There's a little nicks and dents. So this string needs changing. Ukuleles will, like guitars. On this one here, my frets, you can't see it. I'm actually getting little divots, like on an electric guitar where the strings has worn into the frets. So I just play this so much. It's my main number one.
Oops. Betty,
I'll change it later.
Betty, with the question of the tuner, she said hers are closed.
Yep, they're geared.
No.
They are geared, but they're steel. Oh.
When she was saying that with the rattle, she can't tighten that because it's closed.
Yeah, you can't. You have to check the little strings here. If it rattles inside, you know, that plate might come off, but maybe it's time to change the tuners then.
Yeah, buy new tuners.
Get better tuners. That's an upgrade. Tuners you can do. Strings. I use a Salvarez Alliance classical guitar strings. They have a set for those too. And then on these strings here, you'll see on mine here, these are flat wound steel strings, my low G and low C. Abe Legamas turned me on to this because the wound low G always wears out at the frets within, say, 3 weeks. So you have to change them like every 3 or 4 weeks. And it's not bad. It's like $3 or $4 for the one string. But these strings, Abe had one on for like a year. I've had these one on for 3 to 6 months.
Both of you plays a lot.
They get no nicks or dings. Yeah, oh man. And the balance when it's in tune. That one string didn't pop out. So I will change the strings. If you're going to perform or do a recording, you want to change your strings. But change them a week before you do it. Do not change the strings. Oh my God! Yeah, it takes.
What string did you just put on there? Did you have one? One of yours?
What's that? These?
No, what'd you just?
I put it back in.
Oh, the back one. Oh, yeah, I can see it. Think on there.
Yeah. Yeah. See, this one's like. Oh, turn it up later.
Kurt says he always gets distracted when he's up on stage performing. He'll see if it's getting
string
time to change.
Yeah, you're up there under the bright lights. Yeah, well, okay, I gotta go more. So that's way off. That's like a fifth away. It's funny, you think the amount of turning you do that is like, I'm trying to reel in a Marlin down in the Gulf. Like there, I finally got it to G. It gets scary. Turns out the higher strings, the A and the E, take a lot of winding. If you have a high G, it takes a lot of winding. The C does not. But just to go slow, the closer you get. Now Kelly has a different
bridge. Why
bridge.
do I have nicks down here by the sound hole?
Yeah, see, nicks and dings.
But they're down by the sound hole.
Yeah, it could be from strumming.
Down here, no, beyond the. No, strum down there.
No idea. Came like that.
All right.
Kelly has a different one.
So everyone always gets pretty scared when they see this type of bridge because they're like, how in the world would I do that? I
won't take those. Oh, here you go.
Well, no, we're not changing the string.
Yep, take it off. It's easier because they get
stuck
on things. No. Now this bridge, little tiny hole that the strings go through.
And then the
It's like,
strings
what?
go into the abyss and you don't see the end of them.
So how in the heck do you get them in there? Just as you might think, through the sound porthole. Basically what you do is you take the string.
Put it
It's
in.
crazy, yeah.
Put it in.
Yeah.
Push it
Till you can see some in here, or you might even get like an old guitar string or a little coat hanger kind of thing, some kind of wire that you can fish it out in there. So you'll fish a lot of string out.
Pull it up through the sound hole.
Tie a knot, actually stop her knot, put a bead on it, then pull it back up. That's what you do. So it's a lot of work. But what these kinds of bridges do as well is all the downward pressure is towards the top. So increase the vibration, the pumping of the top up and down. So mine with the pin, yep, downward pressure, down, down, down. All right. These other ones, the tension is pulling forward a little bit.
You're gonna go through.
Yeah.
No, it's
like
slit. It's
yeah. Willie Nelson would be proud. No, but the tension on these is pulling up a little bit, not so much down. So there's a yin and yang of arguments.
What are you gonna do then? Just keep playing it?
Yeah. Now Kelly was noticing
Just a crack. And
my.
it's gonna go through.
That's not a crack.
No, look.
What's
You
that?
push over more. There's.
No, that's.
Mm,
Oh, there is a crack
yes.
like that. Wow, crack in this one.
I was just wondering how long till he has a hole in the top of that, and then it's like, oh, maybe not too long.
Noticing my ukulele here is really worn out from the strumming, you know, like. But now it's actually cracked a little bit too. He was pushing. Let me see. You won't be able to see it on the screen, maybe. But if you push here, you can see a little gap going through there.
Ooh.
So that can be fixed, though. You have to a cleat underneath here, a couple cleats to keep it together.
Darn.
Going through here and just glue a couple cleats.
Looks like you never play that one.
Yeah, I don't really do. This one doesn't get much use and how far it went. Wow, that's interesting.
We got sidetracked here.
Now it is stopping at a brace rate here, so the crack will never go any further.
Do you have a name for your uke?
No, I don't.
Nope.
I don't name my instruments.
We call it no name.
Name my kids, that's it.
It's called Curse Uke.
Yeah. It's called mine. Hey, that's mine. I should like Willie Nelson named his trigger, right?
That's what Betsy was saying, yeah.
Should know some other horse name, you know. Fury! What was that?
Oh my goodness. What?
Some of them old horse movies, right? What was that one with somebody will say with Elizabeth Taylor? It was a horse movie when she was younger. Hey, I turned that by ear.
So, some more care tips. Fury works.
Yeah, just tune it up and play it. That's it. Cedar tops and non-glossy tops. You can use the lemon oil on that. Meyer Moe, when they built theirs, they actually, that's what they did, like 3 coats of oil, 1 a day when they were building it. I did this one. Just get the other coat out. Look at the other one.
Where is it?
It's on the back of the couch.
Talk about humidifying.
Yeah, humidifying.
Now that we're coming out of winter, your fret ends might be here.
My granddaughter has my phone watching some movies or something. But Diodario actually sells this system where it'll give you a wireless readout to the humidity from this little tiny device you put in your case. Or we have it at the store hung on the wall, and it'll tell us the relative humidity of that area of the store. But you do want to, in the northern states in the winter, we have to worry about it. It dries out. If the humidity, instruments, ukuleles like wood instruments, guitars included, like relative humidity of 40 or above. It gets a lot lower than that in the winter up here in the Northeast. So you want to humidify, add moisture in the winter, and in the summer you don't really have to worry about it. Too much would hurt, but it never really gets like.
Not in our area. You can't have too much.
So there's number 1. And here's a numero 2.
That's the same exact uke.
5 years difference. Right?
Not played as much though, so it's not cracking. It's not worn through.
Sounds different too, though. It'll get better as time goes on.
Any questions before? I think we kind of covered everything, right? Big question we get is, what strings should I get for my uke?
We always say ukulele strings.
And it really just depends on like one uke from another can be totally different. Like I had my Kala spruce top rosewood side one. We tried the Martin fluorocarbons, which is pretty much a go-to for everybody. That sounds pretty good, but they sounded terrible.
Yeah. Here's a good.
And it's not saying the strings are bad or good. It's just what combination of wood and stuff that your uke has, what the strings.
Yeah, I have this.
Sound like.
I went through a lot of strings before I settled on these Savarez Alliance. They got recommendations from David Hurd in Hawaii, a ukulele builder. He created the book, authored the book, Right Brain Lutherie. So he's like this mad scientist kind of guy that knows too much about building instruments and stuff. And he recommended these red cards, Savarez Alliance strings. And then I use these Tomastic flat wounds for here. It took a long time getting these and finally settled on them. Now, I got this fluke from Magic Fluke Company, a Koa one. Nice plugged in and everything. I use that a lot, stands up. It came with the nine guts, Aquillas. It sounded great. But then I thought, wow, I'm going to put my Savarez strings on it. And it did not sound good at all. So I wanted to change them. And I thought, well, okay, wait a second. What are the Aquillas sort of made of and stuff? You know, they're trying to be like nylon. So then I put on some Ko'olau golds left over. I don't think they really make them anymore.
No,
right?
they just continue.
Yeah, because they were made in Argentina and the factory stopped. So I put the Ko'olau golds on them, which are like a nylon kind of string. And there's actually, some people sort of search these out. There's two of them. One is from the North Kane Street where they used to be or are now, and another one is from a different part. So the older ones are even better. But it sounds nice. So I'll either use Savarez Alliance strings on this pretty much all the time. In a bind, I could put the Ko'olau Aloha's on there, really nice. They're fluorocarbon.
Yeah, but just trial and error.
Just trial and error. And the hardest part's going to be after you go through a bunch of sets is remembering which ones sounded great.
So we always send the pack with you in the case when you change your strings, then you know what you got.
Even date them too, so you know when you changed them.
You just keep it in your gig bag or case.
I have some old videos on my Vimeo page, and I think I have them on my website too, is where I took this ukulele and over the course of like a week or two, I changed strings on it. I did the Savarez strings. I did the Ko'olau golds. I did the Mahanas. I did the Alohas, and hear how they all sounded. Hawaii Music Supply, they did it with 10 different string sets. I think.
Wow.
That's pretty good. And they did
but
it with
again, that's one
too.
uke.
Yeah.
And then a different uke will be totally different.
Yeah, we've had ukuleles in the store which are the exact same instrument. They look slightly different, and they sounded different. So you get go to a store, they have ukuleles
model,
and they know what they're talking about. That's
one model from one model.
Yeah, get the one you played. They'll say, "Oh, I get one from the back." Nah, get the one you played. Or say, "Hey, get the one in the back. It might sound better."
Maybe, yeah. Betsy said we asked if those high quilted ones need humidifying, which they're limited,
chances are the laminated ones don't. They're better to temperature changes than the solid tops. It's the solid tops you have to worry about.
Solid wood absorbs.
Yeah, because of the grain and everything goes straight through the whole solid piece of wood. So if a crack happens, it's going to go right on straight through. Right?
Any questions?
Great. I can spend an hour on strings. It's crazy.
Well, no, we did. Oh,
yeah,
we did do it.
Yeah, an hour.
All right. Well,
nice ukulele.
We'll tune out now and
add strings to some of our one-string ukes.
Yes, we'll finish changing our strings. If you have any questions, you can email us monkeyfrets@gmail.com and tune in next weekend for whatever we come up with then.
Yeah, the blues one we'll do again. We'll explore. We'll go up and down the neck.
The blues at 2:00.
We'll do more sophisticated substitutions and everything.
But 4 o'clock workshop time, we'll think of something else.
Yep, that'll be something.
Yeah.
You even gather your questions, and we can have a viewer's mail.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so send in any questions ahead of time.
On any topic, any.
Because we might get a theme, right?
All right.
Gotta
Bye.
change these strings. Get a lot of people watching that.